After years of heartbreak, silence, and unanswered prayers, Amy Fleming finally sees the one face she thought she'd never see again. The wine moves softly across the Heartland ranch. Horses stop in their tracks, and Amy's breath catches in her throat. It's not a dream, not a memory. Ty Borden is standing right there. The man she lost, the love that shaped her life, has come back. And in that one moment, every tear she's ever cried suddenly finds its meaning again. For fans who have followed Heartland from the very beginning, Ty and Amy's story has always been the beating heart of the show. They started as two lost souls, one running from his past, the other healing through horses. Over the years, they built a love that felt unbreakable, a partnership rooted in kindness, patience, and faith. But when Ty's journey came to a tragic end, the world of Heartland seemed to lose its light. Amy was left alone, raising their daughter Lindy while trying to hold on to the memories that once made her smile. Season after season, fans watched her rebuild her life piece by piece. The ranch became her refuge, the horses her way of coping. She learned to stand tall, to smile again, to find purpose even in the ache of missing him. But deep inside, that chapter of loss was never truly closed. Every sunset, every whisper of wind across the fields reminded her of the love she had and the life that slipped away too soon. As Heartland grew beyond its earlier seasons, Amy's strength became the soul of the story. She became a symbol of healing, proof that even the deepest wounds can find peace with time. Yet, no matter how far she came, fans never stopped asking the same question. What if Ty came back? What if the story wasn't over? For years, the showrunners stayed silent. Interviews, scripts, teasers all left the door slightly open, fueling hope that one day, somehow, Ty would return. By the end of season 19, the story had begun to shift. There were whispers of old letters, unspoken truths, and hints that maybe Ty's story wasn't as finished as it seemed. Amy began seeing signs, small, gentle reminders that felt too specific to be coincidence. A horse that only Ty could calm. A melody on the radio that once played during their first dance. A stranger in town who seemed to know too much about her past. The tone of the show began to change, less about moving on and more about rediscovery. Then came the news. Heartland Season 20, set in 2026, promised to be the most emotional chapter yet. Rumors spread like wildfire. Cast members teased that nothing is ever truly lost. Fans speculated endlessly. Was Ty returning in a flashback, a dream, or something more? When the first trailer dropped, a single image set the internet on fire. Amy, standing in the golden light of evening, turning toward a familiar voice that called her name. The camera never showed his face, but every fan knew who it was. The anticipation was electric. Social media exploded with theories. Some said he had survived off the grid. Others believed this was Amy's final step toward healing through imagination. Either way, everyone was ready. The story that had shaped the hearts of millions was about to take a turn no one expected. And as episode 1 of season 20 begins, the ranch feels both familiar and different. The colors are warmer, the music softer, and Amy's presence quieter, wiser. Years have passed since Ty's loss, but his spirit lingers everywhere. His old gloves still hanging by the barn door, his favorite horse grazing near the fence line. Amy's life has moved forward, yet she still carries that invisible thread connecting her to him. The scene opens on a calm morning at Heartland. The sky glows pale pink over the fields. Amy leads Lindy out to feed the horses. There's laughter, there's peace, but beneath it, a stillness that feels like the air is waiting for something. Amy looks out toward the distant road, lost in thought, as if her heart recognizes something her mind cannot explain. That's where the story truly begins, the quiet before the storm, the calm before a miracle, because what's about to unfold in this season isn't just another storyline, it's a resurrection of hope. It's the moment when grief meets grace and love defies even the final goodbye. The day begins like any other at Heartland. The morning sun stretches across the ranch, turning the grass into a sea of gold. The horses move slowly, their breath visible in the cool air. Amy walks toward the barn, her boots pressing softly against the gravel. There's peace in her steps, but also a kind of distance as if part of her still lives in another time. She opens the barn door, the smell of hay and wood washing over her. She pauses, takes a deep breath, and smiles faintly. It's the same routine she's done for years, but today feels different. Something in the air has shifted. A silence, deep and full, fills the space. Even the horses seem to sense it. Spartan, her oldest companion, lifts his head suddenly, ears pricking toward the open field. Amy follows his gaze, confused. The light seems brighter there, almost unreal. A faint sound drifts in the crunch of boots on gravel. Amy's heart skips. For a second, she thinks it's just her imagination. But then, she hears it again. A steady rhythm, growing closer. She steps out of the barn and looks toward the gate. A tall figure stands at the far end of the path, half hidden by the morning haze. Her mind races. No one was supposed to visit today. Jack's truck is still parked by the house. Lou is away. There shouldn't be anyone here. The figure moves closer, each step slow but certain. Amy's breath catches in her throat. Something in the walk familiar and hurried makes her heart ache in recognition. The man stops near the old fence post, the same one Ty used to lean on when waiting for her. The sunlight hits his face, and time itself seems to stop. It's him, Ty Borden. The same steady eyes, the same quiet strength, the same warmth that once felt like home. For a long moment, Amy doesn't move. Her mind refuses to believe what her heart already knows. Her eyes fill with tears, the world blurring around her. Every memory floods back at once, their first ride together, their wedding, the laughter, the heartbreak. She whispers his name, barely audible, as if saying it might make him disappear. But he doesn't vanish. He smiles. That same small, gentle smile she thought she'd never see again. He looks older, rougher around the edges, but alive. Truly alive. The years apart have left their marks, faint scars on his hands, lines of weariness on his face, but there's something unshakable in his presence. He looks at her the way he always did, like she's the only thing that makes sense in a world gone mad. Amy takes a slow step forward, her hands trembling. She wants to run to him, but fear holds her still. "Is it really you?" she whispers, her voice breaking. Ty nods, his eyes glistening. "I'm here, Abbas," he says softly. "I'm home." The words hit her like a wave. She covers her mouth, trying to hold back a sob, but it's no use. The tears come freely, raw and unstoppable. For years, she has imagined this moment in dreams that always ended before she could touch him. But now, he's standing only a few feet away. As real as the earth beneath her boots, the wine picks up, carrying the scent of pine and dust. Horses in the pasture stir restlessly, as if even they understand the magic unfolding before them. Amy steps closer, until she's near enough to see the tiny scar above his eyebrow, the one she used to tease him about. She reaches out, hesitating for just a heartbeat, and then her hand touches his cheek. Warm, real. The silence between them says more than words ever could. Years of pain dissolve into that single moment. No explanations, no justifications, just the truth of two souls finding their way back to each other. Ty places his hand over hers, steady and sure. "I never stopped trying to come back," he says quietly. "I promised I'd find my way home." Amy's tears turn into quiet laughter, the kind that comes from disbelief and joy tangled together. She shakes her head, overwhelmed. "I thought you were gone," she whispers. Ty smiles, his voice steady but full of emotion. "So did I, but sometimes life has other plans." The scene stretches on, delicate and full of stillness. The camera would linger on their faces, on Amy's shaking shoulders as she finally lets herself feel everything she's kept buried for so long. The world around them fades away, just Amy, Ty, and the golden light of morning. This isn't just a return. It's a rebirth. The moment when loss gives way to love once more and hope finally breathes again. Amy takes his hand, leading him toward the barn, the same place where their story began. Her tears glisten in the sunlight, but now they carry peace instead of pain. Because against all odds, Ty Borden has come home, For a long moment, Amy can't breathe. The air feels heavy, as if the world itself is holding its breath with her. She stands before Ty, her heart pounding so hard she can hear it echoing in her ears. Every muscle in her body wants to move, to run into his arms, to hold him so tightly that time can't steal him away again. But fear roots her to the ground, the fear that if she moves too fast, he might vanish like a shadow. Her tears fall quietly, one after another, tracing the years of pain that have carved themselves into her soul. Each drop tells a story: the nights she cried alone in the barn, the morning she forced a smile for Lindy, the quiet prayers whispered into the wind. And now, here he stands. The man she buried in her heart, the ghost she tried to let go of, the love she could never replace. Ty takes a slow step closer, watching her with the same patience he always had. He doesn't rush her, doesn't speak. He simply stands there, steady and real, letting her see that this isn't a dream. Amy studies every detail: his worn jacket, the dirt on his boots, the faint smell of pine and smoke that she remembers too well. Her lips tremble as she tries to form words, but the only thing that escapes is a choked laugh. "You're really here," she finally whispers. Her voice cracks halfway through, breaking the silence like a fragile glass. Ty nods, his eyes soft. "I'm here, Amos." That single word, Amos, hits her harder than anything. It's what he used to call her when the world got too heavy, when words weren't enough to say, "I love you." Hearing it again shatters whatever wall she had left. She runs to him, and for the first time in years, her arms find their way around him. The embrace is trembling, desperate, and full of release. It's not graceful, it's raw, human, and real. Amy buries her face against his chest, sobbing openly now. Ty wraps his arms around her, holding her as if he's afraid to let go. For a moment, neither of them speak. The ranch around them fades away. The horses, the barn, the fields, all of it becomes a blur. There's only this moment, the heartbeat of two people who defied fate to find each other again. When she finally pulls back, her eyes are red, her voice still shaking. "How is this even possible?" she asks. "They said you were gone, Ty. They told me." He stops her gently, his hand brushing a tear from her cheek. "I know," he says softly. "And for a long time, I believed it too. But somehow, I made it back." His words are quiet but certain, filled with the kind of weight that only comes from surviving the impossible. Amy searches his eyes for the truth. She wants to question everything: how, where, why. But the answers don't matter right now. What matters is that he's here, breathing, real, alive. Her heart, which had learned to beat with emptiness, now races with something it had forgotten: joy. They walk slowly toward the porch, side by side, saying very little. Every step feels like rewriting history, one heartbeat at a time. Amy glances at him in disbelief, afraid to blink, afraid this might be the last time she sees him. Ty smiles faintly, sensing her thoughts. "I've missed this place," he says, looking toward the open fields. "I've missed you." Amy stops walking. Her voice comes out in a whisper, trembling but strong. "I never stopped waiting." It's the truth she's carried all these years, the one thing that never faded, no matter how much time passed. Ty reaches for her hand, his fingers fitting perfectly between hers, like they always did. "I know," he says. "That's what brought me back." For the first time since his loss, Amy laughs, not a small, broken laugh, but a real one. It sounds strange to her, like music she forgot existed. Ty joins her, and the sound feels like sunlight after rain. The weight between them begins to lift. When they reach the porch, Amy pauses and looks out at the ranch, the home they built, the land that carries every memory of their lives together. "Lindy," she whispers suddenly. The thought of their daughter rushes over her like a wave. "She's going to want to see you." Her eyes fill again, but this time, the tears are warm with hope. Ty smiles gently, his voice tender. "I can't wait to see her, Amos. I've dreamed of it every day." Amy nods, trying to steady herself, but her heart is a storm of emotions: disbelief, joy, grief, love. It's everything all at once, overwhelming but beautiful. She realizes, standing there with him, that her life has been holding its breath ever since he left. And now finally she can breathe again. As the sun begins to set, the sky burns with orange and rose. The light wraps around them like an old memory. Amy leans her head against Ty's shoulder, closing her eyes. There are no perfect words for this, only the quiet peace of being whole again. In that moment, she doesn't need to understand how he returned. All that matters is that love, true love, found its way home. The episode unfolds like a dream that slowly becomes real. After Ty's return, the air at Heartland feels charged, familiar yet new, calm yet trembling with everything left unsaid. Amy and Ty sit on the porch in silence as the sky glows gold and pink. There are no big speeches, just the small sounds of home, birds calling from the trees, the creak of the old rocking chair, the distant whinny of horses. It's a quiet moment, but beneath that quiet lies a storm of emotion, questions, and relief. The story begins to weave backward and forward, blending present time with flashes of where Ty has been. Through a series of subtle scenes, we learn fragments of his past. He wasn't truly gone, at least, not in the way everyone believed. A tragic accident had separated him from his family, leaving him injured, disoriented, and living under the radar in a remote mountain town. Cut off from the world, he spent years trying to heal not just his body, but the pieces of his spirit that had broken along the way. When the episode shifts back to Heartland, we see Amy trying to process what she's hearing. The camera lingers on her face, wide eyes, trembling lips, the disbelief written in every small movement. She listens to Ty's story with her hand over her mouth, as if she's afraid the truth might shatter if she breathes too loudly. For years, she's carried pain, guilt, and unanswered questions. Now, she's hearing the answers, but they don't bring anger. Only understanding. Ty explains that he stayed away because he couldn't remember who he was at first. A doctor found him injured and without identification, and by the time his memories started to return, he was scared to face what might have changed. "I thought you'd moved on," he says quietly. Amy's eyes fill again, but this time with compassion, not pain. "I never did," she replies. "I just learned how to live with the missing pieces." From there, the story expands. Jack returns home and nearly drops the tools in his hand when he sees Ty standing in the yard. The old man's voice breaks mid-sentence, a mixture of shock, love, and disbelief. He pulls Ty into an embrace that feels both fierce and fragile. Lou arrives soon after, tears streaming down her face as she holds her brother-in-law like someone rescued from a storm. The family gathers around the dinner table that night, and for the first time in years, the seats are full. But it isn't just about joy. The episode carefully balances emotion with realism. Ty's return brings warmth, but also confusion. Life has moved on. The ranch is different. Lindy, now older, doesn't fully understand who he is. There's a heartbreaking scene where she hides behind Amy, unsure of the man everyone is crying over. Ty kneels down, his voice soft. "Hey, kiddo," he says, holding out a hand. She steadies him, eyes wide, then whispers, "You're the man from the picture." Ty smiles through tears. "Yeah," he says quietly. "That's me." That single moment, when Lindy finally takes his hand, becomes the emotional center of the episode. It's small, wordless, but powerful. Amy watches them, tears glistening in her eyes, realizing that her daughter is meeting her father for the first time. Again, as the day turns into night. The camera follows Amy walking alone through the barn. She runs her hand along the wood, past Ty's old tools, the worn saddle, the place where they once shared laughter and arguments. Her voice narrates softly in the background, not in words of explanation, but in reflection. She speaks about time, about loss, about how love doesn't end when someone disappears. It simply changes shape, waiting for the right moment to return. The closing moments of the episode are quiet, but hauntingly beautiful. Ty steps outside into the cool night air, looking up at the stars. Amy joins him, standing close, their shoulders brushing. There's peace in the silence between them, not the heavy silence of grief, but the gentle calm of reunion. The camera slowly pans upward, revealing the night sky over the Heartland Ranch. Vast and infinite. Then comes the final line, Amy's voice. Steady but full of emotion. Sometimes life takes away the things we love most. Not to break us, but to remind us how strong love really is. And when that love finds its way home, the world feels whole again. The screen fades to black. The familiar Heartland theme begins to play softly in the background. But this time it feels different, older, deeper. Full of feeling, the credits roll over scenes of the family gathered together again. Ty brushing Spartan. Jack smiling in the background, Lindy sitting on her father's lap. Amy watching them with quiet joy. The final frame lingers on the ranch at sunrise. A symbol of new beginnings, episode 1 ends not with a cliffhanger, but with a promise that the story of Heartland isn't finished. That love and family still have more to give, and that sometimes even the impossible can find its way home.